I hope y'all can also hear me on Instagram. I'm testing out the new wireless mic and had to tune it a little bit because it was coming in really hot. So I hope y'all can hear me and that I'm not blasting through your ears.
I can hear you fine. The topic of today's discussion is, do you want me to make you better or do you want me to make you feel better? This is a critical question because so often there are people who say that they want to do more, become more, be better, be more agile. And this could be anywhere from your trainer to your coach to your scrum master to your teammate. But it could also include quite easily, and I'm sure this is where most of you experience this. So I'm shooting right down the middle now. Most of you experience having a a leadership team or a management team that wants to be more agile but doesn't actually want to do the hard work required to get there. Point blank. So welcome my guest today, and as always, Lawrence Bonema from the Netherlands. How you doing? First of all,
Good. Yeah.
awesome. And then welcome to all the friends and fans out there in Instagram land and on YouTube and on Facebook. We're playing it simultaneously. So Lawrence, this whole episode started with a conversation and a question or a comment that you made in one of your classrooms, and I want you to tell this story because I thought it was a great story and a great learning opportunity for all of us. So
hmm
take it away.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing was that sometimes I get in classes, and this was a specific one where people essentially they weren't really happy with the thing that I was telling them, the thing I was explaining to them, and therefore they couldn't really listen, participate. And I was noticing that there was a lack of satisfaction. And of course, as a trainer,
Sure.
that's not good, right? So it's on me to then make sure that they get a better training experience. But when I asked them what it was that they missed something that I wasn't prepared to give, or at least I thought it's like, that's unfortunate to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole point of this agile thing is not that I take you by the hand
Right.
and make it really easy
Right.
or very comfortable. It's actually
Absolutely.
that I do something else. But it was difficult because I hadn't really figured out how to handle that situation. So I did the first human thing you would do in a situation like that, which is freak out. That's exactly what I did. I
Sure.
didn't sleep, right? So
Right.
I was like, oh, what should I do? And of
Mm-hmm.
course, I did the other human thing was blame them instead of
Mm-hmm.
looking what I could do.
Right. Right. That happens too. Let's drill in for a second because I know you can't always get specific when we're talking about real customers and real scenarios, but let's give some examples of where this shows up in the real. So let's be completely transparent. If you're doing a retrospective session and there's something that you need to tell people, but you know they're not going to take it well because the truth can be painful, and we haven't yet trained up on how to handle real feedback, real truth in a way that we can absorb it, accept it, and use it to our benefit. Great feedback is like a sharpened knife. It's a powerful tool if you use it correctly, but it's dangerous and can hurt people if it's too blunt, right? And you push too hard with it. So, used with care, feedback's a great tool.
hmm
But so often we have things that we want to say that we know aren't going to land well. And when that happens, we either have to avoid doing it, which is the wrong move, which is what a lot of people do, or we couch it with a whole bunch of softer words, or we learn how to deliver it before and after in a way that people can handle it and accept it. So let's just check out we got some comments here. It says, hey, what does it say? It'd be awesome if you can get to your DMs.
Yeah,
It'd be
direct
awesome.
messages, I think. But well, at the moment, it's not going to happen. I think because
No, I
we're
think
live.
that's a dude who's trying to sell me something, and the wrong way to get my attention as a buyer is to interrupt my live stream and tell me that you want me to handle you. So probably won't happen, dude. Um, so let's talk, and that's an example of some feedback that I'm sure you don't want to hear, but you need to hear it because I'm trying to make you better.
hmm
So Lawrence, how did you then handle the feedback that your crew, your clients didn't want to hear or didn't have an easy time hearing?
hmm Yeah, of course, it started with their feedback for me that I had a hard time hearing, right? And actually, that's the thing to remember.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't always start with you rightfully thinking, "Oh, they're not good at this," and no, it usually starts with you also having trouble handling something. At least that's how it started with me. Um, what I did in the end, after freaking out, after lying awake, after asking for advice, actually I asked for help, right? So that this is, of course, how we got this discussion, because I came into the forge is that I have this situation. What do you think I should do? And we talked through that a little bit. And out of that, actually, out of something else in the forge came the epiphany for me. Yes, I am not here
Right.
to make you feel comfortable. I'm not here to make it easy and relaxing. I
That's
am
it.
here to help you navigate the complexity of your new job. That's also what I'm ideally suited to do, because I'm doing this for 20 years. So I've learned some things and I can convey them to you. One of the things is Agile is not a thing of comfort. Agile is not an easy thing. Agile requires to always be open to feedback. And now the interesting thing was I was completely transparent. I told them I'd laid awake at night. My first reaction was to freak out and to blame them. So I did all that. And then I said, of course, that's not fair, because what you need is for somebody to hold your hand. Literally said it in those words. However, that would be doing you a disservice. You're all well-educated people. You're smart. You know you need something else.
Yeah.
That's why you're asking for it. I just freaked out for a minute. So here's what we're going to do. And I just told them, this is what I'm going to do. Now, yes, that was taking it by the hand a little bit, but still, that was everything they needed. Because now they were heard. They had a clear path to, okay, so this is what we're going to do. And I told them it was not going to be comfortable. And then they stopped expecting that. And it was like magic. It was really a whole different class the entire day. And that is truly marvelous, because the only thing it took was for me to, to also not want to be comfortable, right? So the comfortable thing is people are in your class and they think you're awesome. That's comfort for me. Yeah. And I know that usually that's exactly what happens, because I'm pretty good at what I do.
Yeah.
But sometimes it isn't, and that's uncomfortable for me. So it was a complete full circle experience, because I also had to go through my own discomfort. So I don't have to like that. I don't have to want to do that, but I need to be able to do it and do it well. And fortunately, I figured out how. I just told them, and I gave them exactly what they needed, not what they wanted.
You got it. There's a bunch of lessons learned there. Let's try and encapsulate them, in a couple of sentences. Number one, in all things, if it were easy, everyone would have it already. Right? Competition is competition. Stuff's hard. The stuff worth having is hard work. My friend Victor just joined. Victor, just want to shout out and say, hey, because you know this, anything worth having is hard to get. So get comfortable with the uncomfortable, or stop talking about your lack of success, your lack of traction, especially when we think about agility. Agility is always about changing minds. Changing minds is always hard. It is the work. One huge mistake that we make, a huge misconception in the industry, Agile, Scrum, all of it, is that better Agile, better Scrum comes from more complexity and more knowledge about the framework. It doesn't. Everyone's going this way and they're spreading out. They're spreading wider. They're spreading their knowledge deeper and deeper. They're getting into the science of planning poker cards. How thick should they be? What kind of laminate makes for a great planning poker card? Doesn't matter. None of it matters. The industry's going this way. It's going up. It's getting bigger. How can we use Agile for more and more stuff? And yeah, it's spreading out. It's spreading out of tech. Tech Scrum, Tech Agile for me is boring now, because everyone's doing it. And I think that everyone has kind of perfected it to a point where they've got it working quite well in a lot of organizations. And now we can focus on funkifying things like DevOps and SecOps and all kinds of cool stuff. Now I don't play there anymore. I play in the business area of agility. How can I deliver business outcomes with Agile Scrum thinking? So the color of your talking stick don't matter. What matters is doing difficult stuff. Can you sell? Can you market? Can you influence others? Can you share ideas? Can you speak truth to power? Everyone says, why does Agile fail? It fails because of lack of management support. It fails because of blah, blah, blah. So when you have to go speak truth to power because it's the thing that's making your Agile not work, but then you can't do it, you back down because you don't want to do the difficult thing. You don't want to say the hard thing. You lose. And Agile fails. So when we say Agile fails because lack of management support, you're blaming the wrong person. You should be blaming whoever's in the mirror today. because it was
Yep,
your
because
job
you
to
need to be able to talk to those managers. You need to be
you
able to talk to your clients. You need to be able to talk, and it's not to convince them because they
yeah,
hired you to begin with, and that's actually a really clear signal. When somebody hires you to help them become more agile, they have
yeah,
already decided that that apparently is what they want.
yeah,
Then it's on you
yeah,
to find the words, the
yeah,
way to talk to them, and to tell them, okay, you wanted this.
yeah,
I know that this is not comfortable. The thing that I'm doing here,
right,
that's how this feels. This
right,
is part of it. This is you learning. And
yeah,
so it's good that you're feeling discomfort because
you better
the
believe it.
discomfort is that comes from the not knowing, from the doing something really new, the thinking something really maybe even weird. And that is the thing that tripped me up because I wanted them to feel comfortable. And because they weren't, I thought that was on them.
Yeah,
But it really wasn't. It was on me.
yeah,
I needed to explain to them that that's part of the learning. And then
you
when I
got it.
did, they even gave me a compliment, which was a complete 180 to the day before. Right. So they
Isn't it strange, man?
actually liked it. And I didn't change anything in the delivery. I didn't change anything in the thing that they were doing. I just explained why they were doing it.
Yeah. So the
It's
thing, sorry to interrupt, but the thing that happened was the opposite of what you feared. True.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Speaking the truth. So if you need some help, if you need some grease to make that conversation easier, you can use my words or my concept. When someone says, hey, we think that Agile should look this way because we read it in an article or we heard all about it on the magical interwebs. One sec, Instagram, folks. Here we
Mm-hmm.
go. I heard about it on the magical interwebs. I think it should be this way. And you need to tell them, yeah, it's not going to work out for you. And you know it's going to hurt to hear. So when people say, what do you think? You could say, look, do you want me to make you better? Or do you want me to make you feel better? Because they're different conversations. Why do I use those words? A, because it's tough as nails, man. That's a badass thing to say, number one. And people should be expecting that of you if they hired you to help them become more agile, to Lawrence's point. But also, it opens the door to basically no one wants to take option B. Nah, make me feel better, right? Brush my hair for me, right? Pretty me up. Give me a back rub. Give me a warm blanket. Doesn't work that way. People want to be better. They just don't know how. So you're now offering to say, I'll speak truth to you if you want. It's just going to be a little uncomfortable to hear. So do you want it or do you just think you want it? But when I give it to you, you're going to react badly. You're going to disagree with me. You're going to do a whole bunch of other things that won't help you. So step number one is realize it's difficult. The hard conversations are hard for a reason. And the people who are good at it are sought after, well paid, and successful for a reason, because this is tough to master. The simplest hack I can give you is to let people know that what I'm about to tell you is not what you want to hear, but it's right. And it must be done. You hired me as a professional. You believe in me. I believe in you. We're going to have to co-join on this thing and take the lumps together. Sorry, Instagram people, if I'm losing you here. My phone is acting up.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. I should be back. I should be back.
You are back, at least on my Instagram. You are.
Here now, someone says, "Hey, Lawrence, the best agile consultant of the universe, not in the universe, of the universe." That's a bold statement, my friend. Welcome to the feed. I'm glad to have you here.
Uh-huh.
For some reason, I may not be showing up on camera, but it doesn't matter. All right, so Lawrence, you got a different result than what you thought you were going to get. Instead of getting pushback, blowback, you got applause. You got people saying, "Oh, thanks, man. We get you.
Yeah.
This makes sense. I'm glad you made that clear for us. That really
Mm-hmm.
helps us." So what did you learn from that experience?
Well, actually, the thing that I was going to teach, which is you need to be comfortable with discomfort. It also holds true for me as a
Oh yeah.
professional. I also need to be comfortable with bringing that message and actually having the guts to tell somebody, okay, so look, I know that you think you signed up for me giving you a blueprint. That's just not going to work. That's just not going to learn. That's not going to teach you what you need to learn. That's not what you came for, even though you may think that that's what you came for. What you actually came for is me telling you this. But of course, it's on me to explain that to people because it's a perfect, normal assumption, even that when you pay somebody to teach you something, that they're going to teach you how. And I just didn't tell them enough. And that was actually a very powerful insight for me. That
Yeah.
even then, even when I think it's not me per se, it still might be. And that's still where the solution is. And then when I find that and I actually have the guts to just tell them that, And that was, I included all the thinking around this, right? So exactly what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got it. And they didn't just get it. They even got the struggle I had. And they kind of liked the fact that I explained that to them. And it was like, yeah, there's a nice example of how you should do this. I'm going to take this back to my teams and show up the same way. Now,
Right.
that for me was the biggest compliment I can get.
I like that. So they actually liked your style in giving the feedback, the directness, the honesty.
Yeah,
They
at
dig
least
that.
one of them liked it enough to say it out loud.
Good, good. Now, you're going to get blowback sometimes. I
Mhm.
put in my notes here. You will experience violent opposition when you speak the truth, because some people aren't ready. Some people will do anything to have the truth not be true. So how do you handle it when someone comes to you and says, I want the truth, give me the feedback, you give it to them. It's hard to hear. You even prep them. You say, you want me to make you better? You want me to make you feel better? And they say, better, please. Not feel better. Not interested in the soft
Ooh, yeah.
and easy way. And then you give it to them, and then they freak out. Right? So we've done everything that we can to deliver the message, not softly, but truthfully, honestly. We've prepped you for the message. We've prepped you with the fact that I'm going to bring you something that will be hard to hear. I need you to tell me how it feels to hear that. I need you to know that I'm doing this to make you better. So when you experience what you experience, fear, anger, whatever may come up for you, I need you to sit with it, and I need you to push back against it so we can move forward. You can prep people all day long, and then they will still get emotional. I had a situation like that sitting in my backyard talking to someone who wanted the truth. What's going on here? How am I showing up? What am I screwing up? And it's like, do you want me to make you better? You want me to make you feel better? Can I give you some open and honest feedback? Yes, you can. You give it to them, and they got up and wanted to leave because they couldn't hack the way it made them feel. What do you do then?
Ooh.
Oh, my friend Joan is here. I'm missing a couple of people because I can't see the full scroll roll here, but I know my buddy Victor's here. Victor's throwing down some comments. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I'll be there for your live stream as well. I see some names here I don't necessarily recognize, but welcome to everybody who's joining today. We're talking about, do you want me to make you better? Or do you want me to make you feel better? And the question I just posed to Lawrence is, when it goes badly, when I give open and honest feedback and it hurts somebody and they react, how do you handle it?
Usually I would then just take that seriously, explain my intent, also ask what's happening for them. And essentially I would just switch to coaching mode immediately, which is ask them what's happening, what else is happening, what they need, what they want, and then how can I help? And that usually not just neutralizes the situation, but actually gives me pointers on how exactly I can help. And then I only have to do that.
Yeah.
Interestingly, that's the thing I feared, not knowing how to handle it. But while you ask this, and of course, the first thing I did was think, what would I actually do in that situation?
Mm-hmm.
But I had the plan B already ready, which was the thing I just explained. And I'm actually kind of confident that that would normally work. Because usually when people freak out, the thing to do is just listen, take it seriously, and respond.
Yep. Now, one mistake I think people make or tend to make in the moment is they tend to say, whoops, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that because they are offended. What I said was wrong. No. Because they are offended, they are offended. End of story. How you manage that, though, sounds like this. Number one, never apologize for the message because you were speaking truth. You asked for permission to speak truth and you got it. You spoke the truth and the truth was necessary. You did the right thing. You got to believe in your rightness. And if you were wrong, you'll learn. That's how this works. But you can never be sorry for delivering the message. Worst case, if you didn't do it the right way, or if it ends up being that the message wasn't right, you misperceived, misunderstood, whatever the case may be, you have to let yourself off the hook. You did the right thing by doing what you thought was right. So the message didn't land well and they react badly. What do you do? Don't say, I'm sorry that I said that. Don't say, I'm sorry that I offended you. But you can say, I'm sorry that that was hard to hear. Because that takes the blame off of you personally for their offense. Once people get good at receiving this kind of feedback, which is necessary, this becomes easier. You have less failure. But until then, when people get offended, understand that's where they're at. So what you're apologizing for, you're basically saying, I understand that from where you're sitting right now, this hurts to hear. But that's different than saying, I'm sorry I said it. Do you see the difference? Stand your ground. You're trying to help this person, you're trying to coach this person. So it's okay to say, I am sorry that you were offended by the message. I'm sorry this was hard to hear. Because it takes all of the blame off of you. You didn't do anything wrong. And then say, how can I help? Or if they want to storm out of the room, you got to let them storm out of the room. People will react how they react, and their reactions are not wrong. Their reactions are perfect for them in that given moment. But if you framed it the right way, saying this is designed to help you, you need the help, hard things are hard things, and that will never change. I'm bringing you what I believe is best for you and for the team. If they need to run out, storm out, get mad, don't react. You can never react. You can never say, please come back. I'm sorry. I will never give you open and honest feedback again. Guess what that would do to your leadership? Guess what that would do to your reputation? You can't have that. Lawrence, you want to add something to that?
No, except a loud here, because it's exactly the main thing. For me, I have the hardest time not saying sorry, though, because sometimes I do feel sorry, and my natural response is to immediately say that. So it's really good to reserve that for the moments when you feel you should say it, not just for when you feel it.
Right.
And that, for me, is the hard lesson there, because I feel sorry even before I should, and that I should stop that. But well, there's lessons to learn all the time.
Totally. See, people come to the Forge because they want to get better. They want to get sharper. They want to get harder, right? They want to get tougher. They want to be able to take the blows better because they know as leaders they need it. How you show up with certainty matters when you're leading people. You got to have that internal certainty. And it's reflected in how you speak, how you stand. Everything you do matters. So I give feedback in the Forge all the time. You can tell some people get what I call butt hurt. They get upset. They didn't want to hear the message that they weren't perfect. They didn't want to hear the message that they crushed it. They didn't want to hear the message that their excuse for not getting the homework done is a really, really good one. There's no such thing as a really, really good excuse for letting your team down. So when they get that feedback, they fail to understand that it's taken the feedback that's the real lesson. The homework doesn't matter to me. I don't care if you get the homework done or not. You're not going to be saving my life by doing your homework. But you're going to be saving yours by learning how to commit, how to communicate, and how to fail gracefully. I make certain things hard on purpose so that you can't possibly do them right. When that happens, I'm looking to see how do you handle failure, rejection, all of those emotional things. And I'm looking to train you up on how to react like a pro, like a leader, like a true agilist. Otherwise, how are you going to coach other people? If I don't believe in you and aspire to you and respect you, how am I going to coach you? Sorry, how am I going to be coached by you? That would be the question I'd be asking if I was someone on a team, looking up to my scrum master, looking up to my coach. And likewise, how can I trust you if I don't see you reacting with courage, with certainty, with humility? Those things are important for teams and teammates. So if you could give a lesson, Lawrence, to everybody who's watching today, who's coaching and is looking for a better way to deliver hard messages, give difficult feedback, and they're struggling with that, well, I don't want to hurt their feelings. What's the advice that you would give?
Well, do it anyway, but tell them that, A, that was not your intent. Also, just ask why it hurts their feelings. Because more often than not, it's that conversation that makes it clear that you really didn't intend to do it, but still, you're saying it. And in saying it, you're learning how to do it better.
You got it.
Because the best way to learn how to do this is just step in, say, this is what I want to be doing. I have no idea how I am supposed to tell you, and then just tell them.
Yeah.
If you just make that part of the conversation, then and 9 times out of 10 it'll just work out. And the people that it doesn't really work with, they are probably really easily offended. And then it's good to make sure that you work with that, because there's always going to be people who are offended by almost
Always.
anything.
Always. Yep. And I think it's worthwhile, by the way, to reflect or to repeat that when people are offended, you don't judge that
Hmm.
response. You don't say it's wrong for you to be offended. Never tell them that. Say, I understand. And I
Hmm.
used to feel the same way, or I totally get how you could feel that way, or lots of people would react the exact same way. I feel you. I agree with you. You're right. Tell me how it feels to hear that information. I don't want to hear what you think. I want to hear what you feel. And let them tell you. Well, I feel offended. I feel stupid. I feel like I let my team down. I feel blah, blah, blah. Say, okay, that's great. But I want you to understand that that's your feeling about the situation. And it's not wrong, but it's also not accurate. You didn't let your team down. Your team's not going to die. You're not a failure because this one thing went wrong. How can you and I work together to change your frame, to change the way you receive that feedback? Because the pain that you feel is a direct result of the meaning you assign to the words. And I can tell you, as the dude delivering it, that meaning that you heard wasn't there. So, how can we work to make those communications clearer? What kind of signals can I send you? What kind of words do you prefer? How do you like getting that feedback in a way that lets you use it like a weapon, like a tool to make yourself better, to sharpen your edges? But at the same time, for you to not get offended and understand that my intent was not to hurt your feelings or to be critical or judgmental of your performance, your person, or anything like that. See, because you can't just go, oh, that's all you. That's your problem. That's all in your head. True, not nice to say. Not helpful to say. That doesn't work.
Hmm.
But what will work is to say, I understand and I agree that those words can sit and sometimes rest hard. They fall hard. They hurt to hear. So in future, when I have feedback to bring you, because I'm assuming you want to keep getting better. Yes, you want to keep improving. Every day we're going to stretch. We understand that that's how we grow. That's how we absolutely crush this deal. I need to bring you the feedback. So not doing it's not an option for me. I can't couch my words. I can't not push you. I can't not grow you as a leader. So, how can we make this work? What would work for you? What do you need to hear? And then eventually, everyone learns in their own way, in their own style, that the intention is never malicious, it's never judgmental. And pretty soon, they too don't care about the words.
Hmm. What I've experienced though is that what really, really, really helps is if people that you're giving that type of feedback to experiencing you taking it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe not from them, but from somebody else.
Right.
Because that is like a magical thing to see happen, right? And I've had that not often in classes, but I've had that in consulting experiences
Oh, yeah.
where a manager was a little bit offended. Well, actually, more than a little bit offended. They
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was telling them that they were a bad leader, which I kind of was, right? I was making a
Yeah.
bit of a joke about it, and they took offense.
Sure.
And then somebody else, one of my coworkers, in another session where they just also happened to attend because we were doing a consulting gig together, and they just started giving me feedback in a session that was all about giving feedback. And it was quite harsh. It was like, okay, so dude, you completely suck at doing this because look at that example of that manager that you told this to, and the manager was there. They knew that he was there, and they just essentially proceeded to tell me what I'd done wrong there because
Mm-hmm.
I had done something wrong because he felt offended, and that was not my intent. If I don't intend to offend, probably a better way to say it. And
Yeah.
I took that and I actually thanked them for the feedback, but not in a way that was
Yeah.
clear, like, thank you for the feedback. It was actually, this is what I'm going to do with it as of the
Yeah.
next session.
Sure.
And then I was completely unfazed, at least of course, I didn't like the feedback, but it was good feedback. So
Yeah.
I decided immediately, this is what I'm going to do with it. And then I told him, of course, it really sucks to hear this. And that thing, the manager smiled.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, we were having coffee in the break. He came to me and he said, that actually showed me exactly what you meant when you gave
Mm-hmm.
me similar feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And now I get it.
Now I get it.
And it was like a meta thing to happen because from that moment onward, I could tell them that person everything I wanted, and it didn't really matter how I did it because they knew that my heart was in the right place. And I think that's the biggest thing you can communicate. You must communicate that you care.
Yep. I agree. And hey, there will be times when you screw up. So you gave an example of doing something jokingly that caused offense. In
Yeah.
those cases when it is your fault, you absolutely must say, it was not my intention to harm you. However, I totally get that what I said caused you offense and I apologize. I remember I said before, never apologize for delivering truth. But if your mechanism for delivering it is poor and you caused harm, you have to say, I apologize for doing that. It was not my intention to offend you. And I alone am accountable for how that made you feel. That
Mhm.
one was on me. I screwed up. And I'm not blaming my sister. I'm not blaming my mother. I'm not blaming my childhood. I'm not blaming my paycheck. I'm not blaming anything because the accountable person, once again, is the person in the mirror. All me. So, how can we move forward? I think it's important when you screw up to apologize, absolutely. And to be able to take feedback, as you mentioned, gracefully and say, well, that sucks to hear. Man, I hate hearing that. That's not who I am. So, I want to do better. So, thank you for making me better. When you get feedback, one of the most important or powerful things you can train your teams on is every time you receive feedback as a ritual, the recipient says, thank you for making me better. I needed this. This is how I grow. Whichever statement you like, use it because it allows you to detach from the emotions of being hurt by feedback, by words. Because remember, guys, if nothing else, what's the alternative? That we don't speak openly and freely. Listen, I do this in the Forge every single lesson. You got to give me one thing that will make me or make this program better. How many times do people want me to let them off the hook by only bringing a positive piece of feedback? You've all done this in retrospectives. You have a plus and a delta column. You even take the word minus out so that it relieves the emotional charge. So there's no good and bad. There's plus, liked it, continue, and delta. So the word negative is even removed from the equation. When people give their feedback, you have to give me one of each. Happy to give you the plus, love this. Started on time, love the music, love the snacks, love the whatever. But when the time comes to give me a delta, oof, I got nothing. Everything was
Mhm.
great. I wouldn't change a thing. Yeah, that doesn't help me though. If you wouldn't change a thing, find something that's still really awesome that could just be 5% more awesome. Let's work on that. See, it's not negative. You're not giving me feedback now. You're helping me polish the edge. Right? When you sharpen a knife, first you grind away the metal, then you straighten the burr, then you hone and polish the edge so that you can literally see yourself in that tiny, tiny fraction of the blade where the cutting actually occurs. You shine it to a mirror finish, and it will cut through paper like butter. So we're just polishing the edge here. We're just trying to make ourselves better, better, better 1% at a time. Do you know how
Good.
hard that is for people?
So it's about not making you feel better, but about making you better. And I think a little over the half hour mark, that I think
Yeah.
is a nice point in time to start wrapping it up.
Listen,
If
feedback wise,
you agree.
if you put two people in a room who can't
Hmm.
contain a 10-minute discussion into 30 minutes, you put two people like that together in a room, you get what you got here, which is 30 minutes minimum for a live stream. But I appreciate you, man. This was a great conversation, and keep bringing some stuff. I can never stop teaching and or coaching because I would have nothing to talk about on the show. I need the practice, right? I need to see what's happening in the field, and I need to sharpen my skills. So bring more stuff from your practice without naming names or giving specifics, because I hope this was useful to you guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. And Lawrence, thank you as always for joining. Let me grab our little closing splash screen here in case you need to find us. Badass Agile on Instagram, badass_agile on Twitter. Why not join the Facebook Badass Agile Listener Lounge? We've got really great chairs in there. And as always, you can find me at worldwideweb.badassagile.com, among others. Instagram Live people, thank you for joining. YouTube Live, Facebook Live, wherever you happen to be. Thank you for being fans. I appreciate each and every one of you. You're our tribe. You're our clan. You're our cult. You're our, obsessed group of screaming fans, wherever you may be. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.